Welcome back to another episode here on the Pioneer Sideline. We have a lot going on this week. The basketball team spent another weekend in Hoosier State. We were there for all the action. We also look at sports on a local and national level. Then I'll sit down with one of our reporters to have a few good minutes in sports. And as always, we'll finish up with a case of the week here on the Pioneer Sideline. Welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm your host, Kyle Anthony. The women's basketball team was looking to lock up the top spot in the conference tournament, but it was not going to be easy. So I'm going to give the ball over to Phil Popor to see if the team was able to get back to number one.
Thanks, Kyle. With the regular season coming to an end, now is the time for teams to take their game to another level. Currently, your Point Park Pioneer women's basketball team is in a peculiar position. For most of the season, the team seemed to be the front-runner to take the KIAC and the automatic bid to the NAIA Division II National Tournament. However, recently the Pioneers have struggled and had the chance to turn things around last Tuesday at home against the KIAC leader Rio Grande. This game pitted the top two teams in the conference against each other, with the winner poised to take the conference. Both teams entered the game ranked in the top 30 in the nation. Rio Grande opened the game on fire, and the Red Storm never looked back. Midway through the first half, Rio led 23-13 before Coach Grenick made the decision to insert freshman center Bailey Buleka. The freshman was a much-needed spark as she went 3 for 3 shooting and led a 15-7 Pioneer run that cut the Rio lead to 36-32 at the half. Though the Pioneers would fight hard and keep the game interesting, Rio's size was too much to handle. The Red Storm out-rebounded the Pioneers 54-32, which helped Rio pull away with a 73-61 win. With hopes of winning the regular season conference title withering away, the Pioneers needed to bounce back quickly. They had the chance to do so against IU Kokomo at home. This was another conference matchup against a much weaker opponent. To put it lightly, the Pioneers dominated IU Kokomo. Point Park forced 26 turnovers, giving them a 38-5 advantage in points off of turnovers. Along with that, it was a balanced attack. This was the fourth time this season every player on the team scored in a game. Point Park won the game 88-70. Rio Grande also won its game Saturday night, so they clinched the KIAC North. With its win, however, the Pioneers did clinch second place and the first-round home playoff game that comes with it. The Pioneers have 2 regular season games remaining and look to use these games as momentum builders for the conference tournament.
Now, Phil, what do you think happened in this loss?
Well, Kyle, to tell you the truth, I think they were just kind of outmatched by the better team. Rio Grande this season has just been really steady, and it's really just the size advantage. With Point Park not having Sam Weir, I think that's really the main problem because she's a force down low. She can get rebounds, she can get layups, she can get the blocks, she has everything going for her, and without Sam Weir, they just haven't really found someone to take that spot. Carly Force has done a good job, and the team plays great team defense. But the problem is they just don't have the size to compete with a team like Rio Grande, who, like I said, just out-rebounded and just outsized the Pioneers.
Phil, I'm glad you brought up Sam Weir, because that's my next question. Can we keep using her as an excuse for why this team is losing games?
I think at some point you have to stop using her excuse. She is a huge loss, obviously, but I mean, they've had the whole season to. They knew they would not have her for the whole season, So I think that's something that they have to realize and they have to get past. We can't keep using it as an excuse. Though she is a force that is missed, the team still has great players like Kelly Johnson and Zanakis, and they should be able to play good enough defense against these bigger teams, and they should be able to just shoot and get the wins. But
now, Phil,
right now,
what worries you about this team going forward?
Excuse me, Kyle, what was that?
What worries you about this team going forward?
I think it's just the fact that it seems like they are sometimes too aggressive, especially in forcing turnovers. I mean, it worked against IU Kokomo with them forcing 26 turnovers, but I think when they get too aggressive, that's when they start to slip up. When they're too greedy and they try to get too many turnovers, I think that's what leads them to making their own mistakes, which opens the doors for other teams.
Thanks, Phil. The men's basketball team is trying to end their season on a high note, but right now, the only note they're playing is a low note. So I'm joined by Josh Krupp to talk about the men's basketball team.
Thanks, Kyle. Before we talk about the team, let's check out the highlights. We have 2 games to recap from last week, both with playoff implications. Let's take a look at the highlights right now. First, Point Park taking on Rio Grande at home. The winner of this game controls their own destiny throughout the end of this season. winner gets to host a playoff game. Here we go. Early on, you see this game was all Point Park. Alan Heater finishing there. He had 13 points, 9 boards. Yandel Dennis, you saw him. He had the assist last play, and he drains the 3 here, the step back. He had 15 in the first half alone. But the second half was all about TJ Lanier. You see Dennis there, first half him, second half Lanier. Drains the corner 3 there. But here is the showstopper, the one that had everyone talking after this game. Barry Smith lobs it up for Lanier, and he goes in high gear, slams it home. He had 18 points in this one, all in the second. Check it out again. Point Park victorious in this one, 79-68 over Rio Grande. Therefore, they control their own destiny to host the playoff game. The winner of this game, however, against IU Kokomo, if Point Park won this game, they got to clinch that second place because Rio lost earlier in the day. But their road struggles continued, and it was evident early. They got down, here you see they're down 20, struggling to get the ball on the second chance opportunities. Here, Jared Lawrence draining a corner 3. They were up by as much as 23 in this one. But Art Christian on the other end, you're going to see he's going to try and start the comeback. Gets the nice feed from Jeremy Williams. He gets the left-handed finish. Art Christian was a big part of this game, but TJ Lanier, you saw him get the big dunk in the last game. And here he's going to go off frame and drill the corner 3. That cut the deficit to 9. And then on a fast break, Yandel Dennis, nice pass in the corner. Art Christian again, a 3. A clutch 3 cuts the deficit to 5. That was one of 4 threes for Christian, but here's the dagger. Kokomo up 6, and Aaron Knupp on his senior day drills the 3, and that would put Point Park away. Nick Teeter would get the steal there on the next possession. Point Park drops this one, and they miss out on a chance to clinch the second place spot in the KIAC Northern Division. Therefore, they will have to win against Carlo this week at home or IU East at home this week.
Now, Josh, will this team be able to get things going again?
I think they can get things going. We saw their potential against Rio Grande. That was one of the better games that they've played in some time. And the IU Kokomo loss, again, it was their road struggles. No team in the KIAC really has been too good on the road this season. And they came out against Rio Grande and played their best. And that's what this team can be. They had a nice, solid defensive performance, too, in Rio Grande, which was a good sign for them.
Now, is the defense the only problem with this team?
Defense, I don't think you can call it the only problem for sure. They're terrible at the free throw line, second worst in the conference, only to Carlo. So free throws are just a big problem for them. But defensively, I don't think you can call it a huge problem, especially whenever their head coach doesn't press defense as much. If he says if you give up 100 points, just as long as we score 101, that's all that matters.
Now, does this team have the capability to shock somebody in the tournament?
It's tricky because unless they play every game at home, which they're not going to, that would be the only chance that I would say that they really have it winning out in the tournament. Right now they get Asbury if the season would end today, and they lost to Asbury earlier in the year, but Asbury terrible on the road. They're 1-7 on the road. So if we get Asbury in that first game and we get to the semifinals, we're going to play probably the 1 seed, and from there anything can happen really, but can they put together a perfect game, and that's really the only way that they're going to have a chance.
Thanks, Josh. When we get back from break, we'll be looking at sports on a regional and national level, so stay tuned.